See, this the type of stuff I'm talking about right here. This is exactly why y'all shouldn't worry about dealing with anybody outside of this Dallas Cowboys ecosystem, man. This is more reason why you should subscribe, because brothers, sisters, the people on national television that are paid to cover the sport, paid to talk about the game, they continue to show you over and over again. They have no clue what the hell is actually going on. I am sorry to break this news to some of y'all, but some of these people are too rich, too busy, and too negligent to actually do the proper footwork to give you proper analysis on anything going on, especially former players, who are best served as retelling old stories of their glory days. Some of these guys are not even in tune with what's happening in the league right now. You see, Super Bowl champion, former Super Bowl champion, one of, if not the greatest tight end of all time, Rob Gronkowski, has put his foot squarely in his caveman mouth. Take a listen to Rob Gronkowski actually letting come out of his mouth that the Cowboys had one of the worst off seasons of all time. Huh?
The addition of George Pickens to the Cowboys team is single-handedly the reason the Cowboys will win the Super Bowl this year.
This guy has definitely drank way too many Coors Lights. I mean, he's out of his mind. He's probably 25 beers deep. He's got to be. If just the addition of George Pickens, I mean, there's so many other things that the Cowboys had to address, and they had one of the worst off seasons of all time this year that they're saying.
The best you've gotten out of Dak Prescott is when he's had a really good running back. I think George Pickens is going to help, but they got to get a running back. Let's pump the brakes on the Super Bowl.
Man, you know what? That just irritated me so much listening to it back. I gotta do something before we get into the show. Man, shut your up. Yeah, Rob, shut your ass up, man. See, this the type of stuff I'm talking about. Yes, it's all true. Rob is a Super Bowl champion. He's the greatest tight end of all time, a bona fide football player, a stud on the field. But what he's never been accused of is having any inkling of intelligence running around in that voided area that he calls the inside of his skull, where a brain is supposed to be. He's never been accused of being smart. He's never been accused of even being a sentient creature. For all we know, Rob Gronkowski could be a cyborg literally built just to play football, because outside of that, it don't like he programmed to do anything else or to display any level of intelligence in any way. Now, there's plenty of examples you can find of Rob Gronkowski. I'm not just gonna do this on this show because I got a bigger cat to skin here, because I feel like Rob Gronkowski and this idea isn't just specific to him. It's actually in some of our fans' head as well. A lot of our fans don't really seem to appreciate how green our grass is. They're too busy looking at the other side of the fence. But then we realize, and we take a look at this, and we realize the Cowboys signed 14 outside guys this offseason. At least maybe about 6 to 7 of those guys, you actually know their names. You know who they were, who they may have played for before they were signed by the Cowboys. They made several trades, and the trades they made were for guys that were drafted in the first round. And if they weren't drafted in the first round, they were traded for the purpose of depth. You see, what the Cowboys accomplished, and this is before even getting into the draft class, what they accomplished with their offseason, however, their free agency and their trades, is they addressed depth, and they clearly got Dak Prescott another weapon. Now, this is a team that already had one of the most talented rosters in the league. People forget the Cowboys were just 12-5 3 seasons straight. No, I'm not bringing that for any morsel of success. I'm bringing up this to say this roster wasn't ass. This roster was hurt last year. This roster is not lacking talent. We have a ton of studs on this roster. We just could not put it all together last season because guys were hurt and we had a coach who, quite frankly, didn't give a damn. But let's take it off the Cowboys for a minute because too many people are stuck in this Cowboys vacuum. You see, the Cowboys, all the people that they signed, they are actually going to end up playing. They're actually going to end up contributing to this team. They were actually signing multiple guys who probably are going to start on this team. Kyer Elam, Dante Fowler Jr., Miles Sanders, and Javonte Williams. Both of those guys, one of those guys, will be starting to start the season. And then they went and got guys who were starters in this league in Sadiq Charles and Robert Jones to be backups to add depth to our offensive line. And they added veteran leadership across the board, damn near in every aspect of the team. You got Solomon Thomas on the defensive line. You got a guy like a Jack Sanborn and a Kenneth Murray coming in to the linebacker room. You added veteran leaders in your running back room in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Oh, guys, by the way, that Javonte Williams was looked at as like a light Marshawn Lynch comp before he got hurt in Denver. And Miles Sanders averaged over 5 yards per carry in his career when he was playing with Philadelphia, and still has shown the ability to be explosive with the Carolina Panthers with his longest rush, even in the Panthers uniform, being 30-plus yards, bro. So Miles Sanders still has some juice to him as well. So let's not act like guys that we signed to chop liver, but if you listen to the pundits, if you listen to these guys out here on the internet wanting to tell you about what your team actually is, they would have you thinking that all 14 of these outside free agents the Cowboys finally went out and signed for the first time in like forever, by the way, where they signed this many multiple outside free agents, by the way. All these guys are trash, bruh. Even all the dudes that was drafted in the first round, they all trash. Okay, fair enough. They're all trash. Let's say they're trash. Well, if they're trash, the Eagles' free agency period must be garbage juice because all they did was lose guys who heavily contributed to winning a Super Bowl championship. All they did was lose veteran leadership across the board, and Brandon Graham and Darius Slay and all these other guys, and they didn't replace none of it. All they did is went out and got guys that nobody even knows who the hell these dudes are. They're probably going to be practice squad participants or lower rung bitch contributors, bro. These are not any type of impactful signings. The Eagles made a couple of signings that are respectable. A.J. Dillon, I guess, when he does get on the field. Azeez Ojulari, respectable. You know, outside of that, Josh Uche, cool. The rest of these guys, man, these are negligible signings, bro. So the Eagles, they didn't have a better offseason than the Cowboys. Cut it out. Nobody should be arguing that. The Giants, damn sure, didn't have a better offseason than the Cowboys. They actually used most of their acquisitions on quarterbacks. They signed 1,800 quarterbacks, bruh. You can look at the Giants acquisitions. Each and every one of these dudes, not one of these names are more impressive than any of the top 3 guys that the Cowboys went and got this offseason. Not to mention the actual depth that was solidified by the Cowboys with their signings. And yeah, I actually went and looked at everyone's free agency acquisitions. And it's not the first time I've done this in this summer, by the way. I keep track of what everyone's doing so that way I can have a proper judgment of what my team is doing. You see, you can't get mad at your team when they're not doing something that none of the other teams in the league are doing either, right? So that's why I have to keep that proper context in place for myself so I don't get up here speaking out the side of my neck like Rob Gronkowski just did. And actually, that came straight out of his asshole because it was bullshit, right? Then we look at the Washington Commanders. Their best acquisitions were Laramie Tunsil. That was decent. Then you got a guy like a Deebo Samuel. I'm sorry, George Pickens is better than Deebo Samuel, in my opinion. But I will say they did make a couple of respectable signings, okay? So the Commanders probably had maybe the second best offseason in our division. So how the hell could they possibly have one of the worst offseasons of all time when they had the best offseason in a division this offseason? Make it make sense, bruh. But Mr. Edelman, you also said Dak Prescott has shown that he's best when he has a running game. Now, I will say the game looks a lot easier, and it's easier for the team to be successful when he has a running game. But I'm going to say this too, man. The proof is in the pudding. You can go back and look at Dak the year he had his best running game, which was 2016. The team had almost 2,400 yards rushing total that season. And just for full proper context, Dak contributed about 200 or so odd yards to that 2,400 rushing yards that season, right? Really good season for Dak Prescott. Had a 104.9 quarterback rating that season. Ended up being Rookie of the Year, one of the best rookie seasons of all time. He had a run game. So yeah, that's facts. He plays very well when he has a run game that can threaten the defense. But damn, Juju, you need to update your Rolodex. Dak just showed in 2023 he can actually be better with or without a run game. In 2023, the team in total only had 1,900 rushing yards. That was almost 500 rushing yards less than what they had in 2016. Guess what Dak did, though? Gave them 1,000 passing yards more than what they gave them in 2016. Dak had 4,500 yards passing that season for the Cowboys. And guess what? 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, second team All-Pro, runner-up in the MVP voting. So that, to me, clearly shows Dak can be better with or without a run game. So quit trying to act like my guy can only be good when he has a run game to lean on. Cut it out. That's a slick way for people to try to discredit Dak. Y'all got to stop doing that crap. I know what it is. Rob, your ass is getting early onset CTE. You must have had a mini stroke and went into an active coma for the last year. And you thought that you were talking about last offseason, because that may have applied last offseason. This offseason, shut your ass up. And how about them Cowboys?
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.